In the deep silence of space, aliens sent a message. They believed no one would answer. But one small planet was listening. One world with oceans, cities, and dreams. Earth. The signal reached human hands. Scientists worked day and night. Fear and hope filled their hearts. And then, for the first time in history, Earth replied. The universe was about to learn a truth. Never underestimate Earth. The test was over. Earth had spoken. First, we said hello. Then we said we sing. And at last we proved we endure. The Vir, old rulers of the stars, expected silence. They expected fear. But they were wrong. We sang in the face of danger. We stood in the shadow of giants. We survived storms that tried to break us, and when the final signal came, it carried words no one expected. We respect. Earth was no longer small. Earth was no longer weak. Earth was part of the universe now. The lesson was clear, for the stars and for all time. Far away under a red sun, there was a world called Vir. The people of this world were old, strong, and full of pride. They had lived for thousands of years, ruling over many stars. Their cities were tall, built of glass and iron, standing in the middle of black deserts. The Vir believed no young world could surprise them. To them, all small races were weak and unimportant. The Vir had a tradition. Whenever they found a new star system, they sent the pattern. The pattern was not a friendly message. It was a test. The pattern always carried three things. First, it showed numbers clean and perfect, numbers that any thinking mind could understand. Second, it showed an image of the Vir, tall bodies, long fingers, machines glowing around them. Third, it gave a short message. We search, we test. We rule. If a world stayed silent, the Vir moved on. If the world answered in a weak or confused way, the Vir marked it as useless. But if the world answered with strength, then the Vir grew interested. That world was no longer safe. In the Hall of Maps, 11 Vir elders sat in a circle. The hall was wide and dark, with a glowing blue ring of stars floating in the center. Each point of light was a world they ruled. The elders were old, their eyes sharp, their voices slow. A scientist stood before them. His name was Relvad. He wore a gray robe, the mark of his guild. His voice was calm but strong. "The spiral arm of the galaxy is full of stars," he said. "We should send the pattern again. Perhaps a new voice waits there." The elders nodded. They had not heard a new voice for centuries. Curiosity still burned inside them, even though their hearts were cold. So workers prepared a signal pod. It was small compared to their ships, but powerful. It held crystal coils, power blocks, and a message ready to fly. On the edge of the black desert, the pod stood waiting. Warriors came to watch. It was not war, but to the Vir, everything was connected to war. At dawn, the pod fired into the sky. A long column of white fire lifted it past the red clouds. It broke through the thin air and entered the silence of space. The pod turned its face toward a yellow sun, far away. Around that sun was a blue and white planet. The Vir did not know its name. They only knew it was another place to test. The pattern left Vir and traveled across space. Years passed, but the message did not stop. It was patient, carrying the pride of an empire that thought it could never be surprised. One day, in the Hall of Maps, a sharp tone broke the silence. The glowing star map flickered. A green light appeared on the yellow sun. The elders looked up. An answer had come. Relvad's heart beat faster. He stepped closer to the map as the message opened. First came numbers, clear, steady, in perfect order. Then came pictures, clouds, oceans, tall towers, and strange machines flying in the air. Then came sound. Not one voice, but many voices together, loud, rough, full of life. The elders reacted with mixed feelings. Some laughed. "They are noisy," one said. "Children shouting into the dark," another frowned. "But children who shout may also grow teeth." Relvad lifted his hand. "Do not ignore this," he said. "Their math is true. Their pictures show hands, tools, and fire. Their voices are not begging. They are not afraid. This is different." The elders ordered the pattern to test again. The pod repeated its law. We search. We test. We rule. It waited to see if the new world could answer with reason. The reply came fast. Too fast. On the display, dots and lines appeared. They formed one clear word. "Hello." The elders went silent. The hall felt heavy with surprise. One said, "It is a trick. Just noise shaped into words." Another shook her head. "Noise does not choose this word. This is will." The youngest elder leaned forward. Her eyes glowed in the dark. "The door is open," she said. "They walked through it." She pointed to the yellow sun shining on the map. "This world has a voice." For weeks, the Veer listened. More signals came from the little planet. Songs played with drums and voices. Pictures showed children smiling, rockets rising on fire, and people planting trees. Numbers described stars, circles, and waves. The Veer had never seen such a message. It was messy, yes, but it was brave. It was alive. Relvad studied every signal. He felt something strange inside. Respect. "These humans are young," he said, "but they are not weak." The Empire began to move. Warriors polished their armor. Scribes wrote new rules. Ships waited in silent ports. And in the Hall of Maps, the yellow sun glowed brighter than all others. The Veer had expected silence. They had expected fear. They had expected nothing. Instead, they heard a voice. A small world had spoken. A human voice had said, "Hello," and now the Veer would listen. The night was calm when the message came. In South America, a giant telescope stood between mountains. Its dish was wide like a silver bowl. It pointed to the sky, waiting. For months, it had caught only random noise. But then something changed. On the screen, a clear pattern appeared. A pulse, then silence. Another pulse, then silence. Dr. Maria Lopez, a tired scientist, watched the screen. Her eyes grew wide. The numbers were too clean, too perfect. "This is not nature," she whispered. Across the ocean, in Europe, another telescope saw the same thing. In Australia, too, scientists caught the same signal. Within hours, the truth was clear. The signal was real, and it was not from Earth. The first part was numbers, counting prime numbers one by one. The second part showed a picture made of dots. It looked like tall shapes with long hands. The third part carried words. Computers translated it in many languages. The meaning was always the same. We search. We test, we rule. The news spread fast. Governments tried to hide it, but they failed. The internet caught the story. Soon the whole world knew we are not alone. People reacted in different ways. Some cheered in the streets. Some prayed in fear. Some shut their doors and stayed inside. Children asked questions no parent could answer. Are the aliens kind? Will they visit? Will they attack? At the United Nations, leaders met in a secret room. The Secretary General spoke softly. "Do we reply?" The American president frowned. "If we stay silent, they may still come." The Chinese premier shook his head. "If we answer, we may bring them faster." Back in Puerto Rico, Dr. Lopez felt excitement. She told her team, "This is history. We cannot hide." The stars have spoken. Scientists studied the signal night and day. In Geneva, Professor Yara Singh told her group, "This is a test. They want to see if we can think." They left a door in the signal. "If we open it, they will know our mind." Jason Reed, a young engineer, worked late in his lab. His hair was messy and coffee cups covered his desk. He stared at the binary code. "This is a challenge," he said. "They want to see if we are clever." He drew circles and lines on the glass wall. His friends watched, amazed at his focus. Not all voices wanted peace. In Russia, a general warned, "This is a trap. The signal marks us. They will find us and strike." But in Kenya, a poet wrote in a newspaper, "The stars are no longer silent. They are singing to us. Let us sing back." Weeks passed. The signal kept coming. Always the same. Numbers, figures, the same phrase. It was like a knock on a door. Over and over. Waiting for someone to answer, the world argued. Some said, "Stay quiet." Others said, "Show peace." A few said, "Show strength." But at last, the leaders agreed on one thing. Earth must reply. But what should Earth say? Some said only numbers. Some said send music and art. A few wanted to send pictures of rockets and armies. The debate lasted many nights. Finally, one idea won. A word simple, short, and strong. A word known in every language. That word was hello. The work began at once. Antennas turned. Computers prepared. Soldiers guarded. The whole planet waited. On the night of the reply, Dr. Lopez stood at the controls. Her hands shook. Jason Reed stood beside her. His face glowed in the light of the screen. "Are we ready?" she asked. "As ready as we will ever be," Jason said. The countdown began. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The dish turned to the sky. Power rose. A wave of light climbed through the atmosphere. It carried the word hello. The signal left Earth and entered the black of space. It traveled upward across oceans of stars. It carried human courage and hope. On Earth, people did not know the exact moment, but they felt it. In homes, in schools, in markets, in quiet streets, millions of eyes looked up at the night sky. On the screens in the control room, the word glowed, hello. For the first time in history, Earth had spoken back. The night Earth replied. The whole world waited. For years, humans had sent weak signals into space, songs, TV shows, radio waves. But this was different. This time, Earth chose to answer. In the control room, Dr. Maria Lopez stood in front of the glowing screen. Hours earlier, she had pressed the key that sent the word hello. She could still feel the weight of that action. It was simple but powerful. Earth had spoken. Around the world, people gathered in homes and schools. They told their children, "We sent a message to the stars." Teachers explained that it might take years for the aliens to hear. But no one cared. People felt proud. For the first time, Earth's voice was in the universe. In India, a boy asked his grandmother, "Do you think they will like us?" She smiled and said, "Even if they don't, they will know us." Governments were nervous. Armies stayed on high alert. Satellites watched the skies. Submarines hid under oceans. But mixed with fear was pride. Humanity had dared to speak. Weeks passed. The signal traveled through the dark. Scientists at NASA and ESA studied the reply humans had sent. They imagined the faces of the aliens. Some thought of monsters, some of wise beings. But in every picture, humans stood tall because they had spoken. Then something happened that no one expected. The aliens answered back, much faster than anyone thought possible. One night, telescopes picked up a flash in the sky. Not radio waves, not noise. A sharp beam of energy filled with meaning, aimed directly at Earth. At first, the data was confusing. The signal was too fast, too sharp. Computers crashed while trying to read it. But soon, patterns appeared. The aliens had understood Earth's hello, and they were answering. Jason Reed was the first to notice. He stared at the screen. "It's music," he whispered, "but not like ours. It's mechanical, like a machine singing." Dr. Lopez leaned close. The waveforms rose and fell on the screen, glowing like strange songs. "They listened," she said softly. Then came images. Towers of glass and iron, huge halls under a red sun, ships shaped like spears of light. And at the end of the signal, words appeared. Simple, clear. "We see you." The world exploded with noise. News channels screamed, "The aliens have answered." Crowds filled the streets. Some cried with joy. Some trembled with fear. At the United Nations, leaders argued. A general shouted, "We cannot trust them." Their words are cold. A poet from Africa said, "Cold words can still hide warm hearts." Ordinary people reacted in many ways. In Brazil, a young woman sang a song online. "If they are listening, let them hear our voices." Millions joined her, sharing their music. In Japan, monks rang bells in temples saying, "The universe has awakened." In America, children painted smiling aliens and taped them to their windows. But what did "we see you" really mean? Some scientists said it was respect. Others said it was a warning. Dr. Lopez thought it was both. "They know we exist," she said. Now they are deciding what to do. Jason worked for nights without rest. He studied the deeper parts of the signal. Numbers inside the wave showed distance and speed. His face grew pale. "They are far," he said, "but not too far. They bend space. They can reach us quickly. In bunkers, militaries made secret plans. Missiles were checked, satellites prepared. But many leaders admitted the truth. If the aliens wanted war, Earth could not stop them. So Earth decided to send another reply. But this time, it would not be only one word. Teams of scientists, musicians, and artists worked together. They chose music, Beethoven, jazz, folk songs. They chose sounds, children laughing, whales singing, the ocean's waves. They chose images, the double helix of DNA, the shape of the human hand, pictures of mountains, rivers, and families. Dr. Lopez said, "We must show not only our mind, but also our heart." Jason added, "They must know we are more than machines. We dream." At midnight, the new signal was sent. It was not just hello, it was Earth's story, a portrait of who humans were, afraid, hopeful, creative, alive. Days passed. The world held its breath. Then another signal came. This one was different. It was softer, slower. At the end, the aliens asked a question, "Why do you sing?" The question spread across the planet. People talked in schools, homes, and streets. Soldiers frowned. Philosophers argued. Children giggled. But Jason smiled. "They don't understand joy," he said. "Maybe that is what we can teach them." Dr. Lopez looked up at the sky and whispered, "Or maybe that is what they want to take." Either way, humanity had crossed a line. Earth was no longer just a silent planet. Earth was part of the conversation. The second human signal spread across the stars. It was not only numbers this time. It was full of sounds, pictures, and stories. It carried music, laughter, and the voice of Earth. When the signal reached Veer, the Hall of Maps lit up. The elders gathered. They watched as human songs played, drums, strings, and voices. They saw children smiling, rockets rising, and rivers flowing. They saw drawings of hands, pictures of DNA, and numbers about space. At first, the elders laughed. "They send us toys," one said. "They sing like birds," another chuckled. The sound of their laughter filled the chamber, but Relvad, the scientist in gray, did not laugh. He studied the human message closely. "Listen," he said. "This is not fear. This is not begging. This is pride." The oldest elder shook his head. "Pride in what?" "Their weapons are weak. Their lives are short. A storm could destroy them," Relvad replied softly. "And still, they sing. Who sings in the shadow of giants?" "Only those who believe their voice matters." The room grew quiet. The laughter faded. The elders exchanged serious looks. The youngest elder touched the star map. Her finger pointed to the yellow sun that glowed brighter than before. "They know fear," she said, "and still they speak. That is different." For the first time in many centuries, the Veer faced a puzzle they could not solve quickly. Far away, other races also heard Earth's message. Traders stopped their deals and listened. Pirates on hidden moons paused their raids. Nomads sailing the solar wands tilted their heads. The galaxy was full of old empires, tired and proud. But Earth's signal sounded new. It was messy but alive, honest but brave. Whispers spread, "The little world has teeth. The little world has a song." Back on Earth, people learned of the Veer's laughter. A recording was leaked. "They are small. They are weak. But they sing." Many humans grew angry. "They mock us," shouted politicians. "We must show strength." Armies trained harder. Missiles were checked. Satellites were armed. Fear turned into defiance. But others heard something else in those words. "They noticed our song," said a poet. "That means they listened." Artists painted murals of Earth among the stars. Musicians wrote new songs and shared them online. Children learned to write hello in binary at school. Still, the question grew bigger. Should Earth keep answering? Would more signals bring danger closer? Or would silence show weakness? Dr. Maria Lopez stood before world leaders. "They already know we exist," she said firmly. "They already know we can think. If we stop now, it will only show fear. We must keep speaking. We must keep singing." Jason Reed added, "Their laughter is not the end. It is the beginning." Behind the laughter is interest. And interest is dangerous, but also powerful. We are no longer invisible. After long debate, the leaders agreed. Earth would continue to reply. On Vyre, the elders argued too. "What do we do with this world?" one asked. "If we let them grow, they may become rivals," said another. "If we crush them now, it may be wasteful," a third replied. Relvad looked at the signals again and again. He saw mistakes, but also courage. He saw fear, but also fire. Finally, he spoke. "They are not slaves. They are not prey. They are something else. The youngest elder asked, "What are they then?" Relvad whispered, "Perhaps they are equals." The hall filled with angry murmurs. The Vir had ruled for thousands of years. To call another race an equal was dangerous, but the thought stayed. It could not be erased. Ships were made ready. Scouts prepared to leave. But the order was not invasion. Not yet. The Vir wanted to watch, to learn more, to see what kind of people Earth truly was. On Earth, the feeling of being watched grew stronger. Satellites caught strange shadows at the edge of the solar system. They did not match any known rock or comet. Were they alien ships? No one could prove it. But people felt eyes on them. In homes, families prayed. In schools, children drew rockets and stars. In bunkers, generals sharpened plans. The whole planet lived in two feelings at once, fear and pride. Earth had stepped into the light. The laughter of the Vir echoed across the galaxy. But laughter meant something important. They had heard us, and once heard, Earth could not be ignored. Earth had spoken twice already. The first time, only one word, hello. The second time, music, numbers, and images. The universe had laughed, but also listened. Now it was time for a new reply. In labs and studios across the world, teams worked together. Scientists, artists, musicians, and children all shared their ideas. What should Earth send next? Some said math again. Some said art. Some said music. But one truth became clear. Earth should not hide its heart. Humans must show what made them human. Dr. Maria Lopez told her team, "They already know we can count. They already know we can build. Now they must know we can dream." Jason Reed agreed. He smiled as he drew new patterns on the board. "We should show them what joy looks like." So Earth prepared a message full of beauty and life. The new signal carried music. Not just one kind, but many. It carried Beethoven's symphonies full of strength. It carried jazz full of freedom. It carried drums from Africa, flutes from Asia, and chants from the Pacific. It carried the laughter of children, the sound of rain, and the singing of whales deep in the ocean. The signal also carried images. Mountains covered in snow, rivers shining under the sun, forests full of trees, cities full of lights. People smiling, holding hands, dancing. It carried math, too, circles, waves, equations. And it carried DNA, the code of life itself. When all was ready, the antennas turned to the stars. A wave of light carried the new message into the dark. The world waited. People sat in homes, checking the news every hour. Radios buzzed. Screens glowed. Everyone asked the same question. Would the aliens answer? Days passed. Then weeks. The silence grew heavy. Some began to fear. "Maybe they are angry," people whispered. "Maybe we sent too much." But then one night the signal returned. It was different from before, softer, slower, almost gentle. The aliens had heard Earth's music. They had seen Earth's pictures. They had studied Earth's math. And at the end of their reply, they asked a question. "Why do you sing?" The words spread everywhere. On TV screens, on phones, on giant boards in cities. Why do you sing? People argued about the meaning. Some said it was a threat. Why waste time with songs when you should be strong? Others thought it was curiosity. They want to learn about us. In schools, children laughed. "We sing because it's fun," they said. In temples, monks whispered, "We sing because it is prayer." In markets, old men said, "We sing because it gives us hope." Jason Reed stared at the question for a long time. At last he smiled. "They don't understand joy. Maybe that is what we can teach them." Dr. Lopez, however, felt uneasy. "Or maybe," she said, "that is what they want to take from us." Meanwhile, on Vir, the elders studied the new human signal. Once again, laughter filled the hall. "They waste their time on songs," one said. "They are small children showing toys." But Relvad shook his head. "No, these songs are not weakness. They are courage. Who sings when death is near? Who sings when giants are watching? Only the brave," the youngest elder agreed. "They sing because they refuse to be silent." "That is power." The elders fell into silence. They did not know whether to fear Earth or to ignore it. But they knew one thing. Earth was different. Back on Earth, the question, "Why do you sing?" became the heart of human life. Musicians wrote new songs to answer. Artists painted stars and voices together. Writers filled pages with poems. One young girl in Africa sang to her village, "We sing because we are alive." Her song was recorded and shared around the world. Millions joined her. Soon, the internet was full of answers, songs, dances, pictures. Humanity answered not with one voice, but with millions. The aliens may not have understood everything, but they understood this. Earth would not be silent. Scientists prepared another reply. This time, they sent Earth's answers to the question. They sent songs of hope, pictures of families, math about stars, and messages written in every language. We sing because we live. We sing because we dream. The antennas fired again. Another signal crossed the sky. On Vire, Relvad listened. He felt a weight in his chest, something close to respect. "They are young," he said, "but they do not fear. Their song is their weapon." The elders said nothing. But the yellow sun on the map shone brighter than ever. Earth had shown its soul. The Vire had asked a question, and Earth had answered, "We sing because we are human." The question, "Why do you sing?" changed everything. Earth had answered with music, art, and words. "We sing because we live. We sing because we dream." But no one knew what the aliens would do next. On Earth, people lived between fear and pride. Some believed the aliens respected us now. Others feared they were only testing us before an attack. Armies stayed on alert. Scientists kept watching the sky. Families prayed at night. Then one evening, the sky itself seemed to shake. Satellites reported strange lights at the edge of the solar system. They were not comets, not meteors. They moved too straight, too fast. Some looked like long silver spears. Others were dark and heavy, like giant stones floating against the stars. Jason Reed stared at the data. His face grew pale. "They are here," he whispered. Dr. Maria Lopez closed her eyes. "The test has begun." The news spread quickly. Panic filled some cities. People rushed to stores. Some hid in shelters. Others stood outside, staring at the night sky, waiting to see a ship. World leaders met again at the United Nations. The American president said, "We must prepare for war." The Chinese premier replied, "We cannot win a war. We must prepare for peace." The hall was full of shouting. No one agreed. Meanwhile, the aliens sent another signal. This one was sharp and clear. "Show us your strength." The message hit Earth like a hammer. What did it mean? Weapons? Technology? Courage. Generals wanted to send images of tanks, jets, and rockets. Poets wanted to send more songs. Scientists argued that true strength was knowledge, not war. In the end, Earth decided to send everything. Pictures of armies and rockets. Pictures of hospitals and schools. Songs of bravery and hope. Numbers about stars, gravity, and energy. The message was sent. Earth waited. The alien reply came quickly. A test. A beam of energy shot from deep space. It hit one of Earth's satellites. The satellite shook, then burned into fire. Pieces fell into the ocean. The world watched in horror. But then another beam came. Not to destroy, but to challenge. This time it sent a puzzle, a wave of strange numbers that no human had ever seen. It was a problem bigger than anything in our math. Jason stayed awake for days, working with teams around the world. Equations filled his walls. Coffee cups piled up. His eyes were red, but his mind was bright. "This is their real test," he said. "Not weapons, not fear, intelligence." At last, after weeks of work, the solution came. Earth answered the puzzle with new numbers, perfect and clear. The aliens replied with a single phrase, "Good." But the test was not over. Next came storms. Strange energy waves hit Earth's atmosphere. Power grids failed. Skies glowed with green fire. Planes shook in the air. People panicked. "Are they attacking us?" Leaders asked. Dr. Lopez shook her head. "No, they are testing us. They want to see if we break." Engineers worked day and night. Satellites were repaired. Power was restored. People stood strong. The world bent, but it did not break. At last, the storms ended. The sky grew calm. A new message came. This one was slower, softer. "You endure." On Veer, the elders watched all of this. "They are stubborn," one elder said. "They survive more than expected," another added. Relvad, the scientist, nodded. "They are not strong like us. But they have something else. They refuse to give up. The youngest elder whispered, "That is true strength." The elders did not agree. Some still wanted to crush Earth. Others wanted to leave it alone. But none could ignore it anymore. The little blue world was not silent. It was not weak. It was alive, and it stood tall. Back on Earth, people began to feel pride. We had been tested. We had been shaken. But we were still here. Children in schools drew pictures of Earth with the words, "We endure." Musicians wrote new songs of courage. Soldiers trained harder, but also smiled with hope. Dr. Lopez told her team, "The test is not finished. But already we have shown them who we are." Jason Reed leaned against his desk, exhausted but smiling. "We are small, but we are not weak. That is the lesson." The aliens had wanted to see if Earth would hide, if Earth would bow. Instead, Earth stood, sang, and endured, and the universe began to listen more closely. Part 6. 7. Image prompts.